evening. Our top story this week. In Tennessee, a couple of wannabe adoptive parents go crying to Anderson Cooper on CNN after the girl they wanted to adopt was returned to her real father in Nebraska. And although the foster parents publicly bash the hell out of the father, the judge blocks their efforts to get her back. The Child Protective Industry and the guardian ad litem assure us that she's perfectly fine in her father's care, and the real father's lawyer reveals that the poor guy even received death threats from the foster father. In Vermont, everybody is up in arms after two kids who were under CPS watch died. Vermont's Governor Peter Shumlin is all concerned about how long it's taking for the investigation into whatever went wrong. And Vermont's child welfare advocates want CPS agents to have the immediate authority to snatch kids without a judge's order or a cop present. Not that it would be hard for them to get either, anyway. In Arizona, a child welfare expert is criticizing Governor Jan Brewer's CPS reform efforts, saying that no matter how much money they spend on the child protective industry, they're not going to save every single kid from imminent harm. They're damn well going to try, even going as far as snatching 3 kids and holding them hostage in foster care based on the claim that the mother is too sick to care for them and disregarding a grandparent's efforts to care for them. In Massachusetts, the child protective industry is not adequately preparing their CPS agents for the real world, nor can they figure out what to do about all of the problems that has been plaguing the child welfare system that have now been clarified in a report by the Child Welfare League of America. A report from Human Rights Watch is condemning the use of 7-year-olds who are working for minimum wage in the tobacco fields of the United States. In Minnesota, the legislature passes a bill to make foster homes smoke-free, which should help to lower the number of available foster homes in the state, which apparently wasn't too well thought out since they also are experiencing foster home shortage due to the number of foster parents who adopt the kid and don't want to be foster parents anymore. In Maine, the child protective industry is hiring 16 new CPS agents to harass daycare workers. In Missouri, the legislature gives the child protective industry an extra 15 days to harass innocent families and complete unwarranted investigations after the CPS agents cried that 30 days wasn't long enough. In Florida, the NAACP is backing a black foster mother's efforts to keep a white child. And in Washington, an audit finds that the state overpaid several foster parents. In England, a major inspection of Herefordshire Council's child stealing organization is underway by the child welfare watchdog group OFSTED. And an inquest into the death of a young girl hears how she called her social worker from the foster care agency to say goodbye just before she was found hanged because they took her away from the family that she wanted to be with. In Michigan, a foster care worker is jailed after videotaping the beating of a resident at an adult care facility. In Pennsylvania, a 12-year-old was criminally charged for assaulting and threatening a CPS agent with a knife. 3 men from Pennsylvania are charged with helping 5 girls run away from their foster home. And in California, a 10-month-old foster child named Princess died after being shaken by the foster parent who is now charged with her murder. In Maine, manslaughter charges are dropped against the now 12-year-old girl who fed her ADHD meds to an infant before she suffocated her with a pillow a couple years ago. In Florida, a school board is backing a teacher who grabbed and dragged a 10-year-old autistic child to get him to follow class rules. In New York, a family court official got busted for selling alcohol to minors while on the state's payroll. And in Las Vegas, Nevada, a mom is captured with her kids after a failed rescue attempt from the California foster care system. After being denied a visit with her family on Mother's Day last week, Justina Pelletier has finally moved back to her home state of Connecticut, and although the situation is not ideal, the family is hopeful that she will have more privileges, education, and access to her family while in the Connecticut facility. But unfortunately, the ordeal isn't over, and Justina is still a long way from home and still being kept as a hostage of the Massachusetts child protective industry. Meanwhile, in Connecticut, the transgendered 16-year-old who was jailed for lack of a better placement is still sitting in an adult male prison, and even Connecticut's governor is calling for him to be set loose and placed in a better home. In Louisiana, a couple of real parents are trying to find out how their 4-year-old son died while in foster care. In Tennessee, after a baby died in foster care this past New Year's, it takes a television station's news team to get the mother the paperwork with the answers as to how her kid died. And finally, tonight in Arkansas, a mother is pushing for Landry's Law, which would prevent the baby from being able to visit the father because of her refusal to wean the baby off of her breast. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK, over and out.